Studio Ghibli, and especially the director Hayao Miyazaki, made some of the best fantasy world building there is. And part of the charm here is that it has a special spiel, some secret ingredient we don't find often in other fantasy works. Yes, it is undeniable that this is fantasy, and it uses many usual fantasy tropes like dragons, and witches flying on brooms, and wizards casting spells. But somehow Miyazaki's magic manages to feel so un-Western. Why is that so? How is that so? And above all, how can we draw inspiration from Ghibli's work and add some unusual magic to our own fantasy worlds? Welcome to the Worldbuilding Tower, a series of videos in which I first introduce you to a wonderful piece of world building that exists out there in books and games and movies, and then I transform this world building into an exercise that any writer can try at home if you want to hone your world building skills. And at the very end of the video, I present my own version of this exercise just as an example of what you could do. Today, before we start, I want to give two quick disclaimers. First is that last episode I called this series Worldbuilding Dojo. That was my idea for the naming, but it has been brought to my attention that there is already a series called Worldbuilding Dojo out there, and it's actually pretty good. I love it. You should watch it. I'll link it on a doobly-doo. But then I changed the name of the series to Worldbuilding Tower. I don't know, I'm obsessed about towers. That's all I got. Second disclaimer is that I realized, looking at the YouTube analytics, I realized there's a good 250 of you who always watch whatever content I put around world building. And 250 is a neat little community. And these are your peers. Those are people who care and research the same things as you do. So here's a wild idea. What if the comment section below was not a place for you to talk to me, but a place for you to talk to yourselves, to get to know other creators, to post your exercise and ask for critiques, to share resources, to befriend people with the same interests as you. So I'm opening this comment section. Ignore me. Talk to each other, because these are your people. These are the world builders. They're right here, and 250 it's a considerable number for a niche thing like that. Okay, let's go back to fantasy and Ghibli. One of the most powerful and most beloved tools in the fantasy writer's tool belt is magic systems. They're at the core of so many great narratives, like Avatar's bending systems, combining kung fu movements with elemental telekinesis, or Mistborn's Allomancy, where those magic users ingest metal and it does something to their body so they gain those particular, very specific abilities. I love magic systems. I love talking about them, so I'm not here to propose that they're bad, not at all. But I am here to propose that the way we build them in the West is generally pretty un-Ghibli, and more like a Dungeons and Dragons style. Ghibli's worlds are full of magic, but the magic feels different. Magic is everywhere. It's indissociable from the world, like nature or civilization. So here, magic is not treated as a craft. And we know that Miyazaki is not shy to the theme of craft. For example, the building and piloting of planes is clearly a craftsman theme in his movies, but not the magic. The character arcs are never about the mastery of this magic. The mastery of the magic doesn't have to be a metaphor for growing up. I could use examples from many different Ghibli worlds, but let's focus on one magical world so we can extract a good exercise out of this. And I'm gonna choose Princess Mononoke's world building. There will be a couple of spoilers, but nothing major, things that you would find out in the trailer or something. But if you want to skip that, just jump to this timestamp and I won't spoil anymore. Okay, let's go. 3, 2, 1. In this world building, the kami, or spirits, are a natural occurrence, and they're tied to nature itself. Their strength, and most importantly, their behavior, is connected to how well nature is faring. But there's also the other way around. Affecting a spirit, like befriending one or killing one, can also affect the nature they're bonded with. Humans interact with the kami in different ways. For example, at the beginning of the movie, the protagonist's village is attacked by a crazed spirit, and this results in the character's arm being infected by this spiritual goo. This infection is poisoning the character, but it also carries the personality and behavior of the crazed spirit. So whenever the protagonist resorts to violence, the arm makes him super powerful. Another example of magic interaction is when this lady, called Mononoke, performs some sort of healing ritual. She's not a wizard or a priest, she just lives in the forest. What she's doing is presented as something normal, as part of the life in that land. So there is a magic system, but it feels strange to call it that way. Yes, there is magic everywhere, but the focus here is not the use of this magic. It's just a thing that exists, and it adds to the beauty and the poetry of this world and this tale. So let's exercise our brains, draw inspiration from Princess Mononoke, and create our own systems. The first thing I want to propose here is that we pay attention to the language, the choice of words, just so we avoid some cliches, just so that we follow the road less traveled by design. So today, we won't be creating a magic system, we'll be creating a metaphysical system. Yeah. Our metaphysical system will be holistic, meaning that it doesn't exist in isolation. It is tied and indissociable from other aspects of the world. You could never just pluck it out. It cannot be a craft. It must be broadly present and influential. Also, more or less in the same vein, we want it to be non-human exclusive. It is part of the world. This magic existed before humans were around, and it will probably exist once humans are gone. Next, we want to populate our world with kami. And you notice I'm using the Japanese word here just so we avoid Western cliches like ghosts and Greek gods. We want something more unique here, even if it's not kami. But if you've never researched the kami from Shintoism, I think it's a wonderful piece of mythology. So yeah, give it a search. It doesn't have to be kami. You can create your own metaphysical manifestations. Just try to avoid the cliches. Lastly, we want to explore how people interact with this system. What is the point where the human endeavor and those metaphysical processes converge? Bonus points if we can also mention how other living creatures interact with the system and the kami will create. Just like Mononoke does, when this cute elk doesn't want to step into the island to disrespect the forest spirit, or when those normal living boars are following this spirit boar around. There you go, that's some animal magic interaction right there. Wonderful! Those rules feel pretty different from the normal soft versus hard magic system discussion. They might lead us somewhere interesting. We'll only know if we try. As always, the last part of this video is my own take on this exercise, which is not better or not worse than anybody else's. It's just an example, just one possibility of what this could create. If you want to try on your own, you can pause this video right now and maybe give it a go. Maybe even write on the comments your own metaphysical system and give other people's systems a look. You might find something inspirational. You might add a comment saying, hey, I really like this idea here. Could be cool. I don't know if this comment thing is gonna work. It depends on how many people are willing to write the first comment, honestly. Anyway, good luck everyone. Alright, let's make some kami. I feel a good way to go about this whole holistic and non-human exclusive territory is to tap into some common phenomenon that already existed before humans came along. The one I'm gonna choose here is wish, the power of wishing, which is, of course, present in all humans, but also in all other living creatures, I guess, in one way or another. Maybe more than just living creatures, maybe more than just consciousness. In my world building, volcanoes wish to erupt, and flowers wish to bloom, and seasons wish to pass. And whenever any of those agents wishes something hard enough, they create a kami, which in my world are called hoshiri. And this is a reference to the Japanese words hoshi, which is star, and also hoshi, which is a part of the most common expression to want something, like kuruma ga hoshii desu. I want a car. They vary in appearance depending on the wisher, but for humans they are cute little fluffy things that carry a wooden plaque on a necklace with the wish written on. As soon as the hoshiri are born, the first thing they do is to salute their creator, their wisher, being that a human wanting to buy a car or a frog wanting to protect her family. And then the hoshiri goes to the spiritual world to fight for your wish, to try to pull the strings of destiny for you. And the spirit world is full of obstacle courses and arenas. It is a world of challenge and trial. The hoshiri's end goal is to place that wooden plaque they carry around in one of the many possibility saplings that exist in the other world, which will then grow into a full tree representing the fulfillment of that wish. But they can only do that after they've proven themselves in a series of tasks. And this is where it gets interesting, because the wishing, the creation of this hoshiri, is not the end of this process, it's the mere beginning. You as the wisher must carry on wishing and doing everything in your power to fulfill the wish yourself, just as your hoshiri is on the spiritual world fighting for you. And your effort will feed your hoshiri in different ways. If you feed your hoshiri confidence, it will get strong. If you feed it hard work and determination, it will get fast. The more complicated wishes will have to compete among themselves. If you really want to win the lottery, you must feed your hoshiri as much as you can, because you will have to prevail over so many others in a spiritual coliseum. And sometimes a human wish will have to compete with a mountain wish. This should be interesting. In between the spiritual missions, tasks, the hoshiri can come to the mortal world and communicate with the wisher. So there's a relationship that can be formed between this kami and this person or frog or volcano. As any story progresses in this world, it has two sides. One that's a real world effort, and the other one that's spiritual arenas and competitions. There you go, a metaphysical system that feels very different from Dungeons and Dragons, but still manages to add a lot of magic to a story. I am super curious to know what sort of metaphysical system you can come up with. Is it very different from mine? That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If it's your first time here, I would recommend this playlist with other world building tower videos that I created before. I finally created this playlist because I have enough videos up. And enjoy the videos, enjoy the channel, welcome, hello. And that's that. I see you folks next time. Ciao, ciao.